So can I ask another follow-up question on that?
Sure.
So if the behavior of the person is affecting us directly,
Yeah.
but I am arrogant, like this is my case, but like if I am arrogant and I have the sense of like I want to say something to a person that I feel like it's affecting me,
Yeah.
then in that case, do I like not talk because then I'm going to engage the...
Well, can I answer that? The very first thing is to analyse your own heart. And this is something most people don't do. They instantly react based on the instant addiction not getting met, right? And they instantly react. And they always justify the reaction, but they don't analyse their heart, their desire to react. So if you've done something to harm me, I've got to look at my desire to react and how I'm thinking I should react. Now, if I'm in complete harmony with God's love, I won't even have to think about it. I will do whatever is the loving thing in the circumstance. But if I'm not yet there, which is where the difficulty arises. See, when I'm in harmony with God, to the point where I'm at one with God, everything I will do will be in complete harmony with the way God would do it. Make sense? So I don't need to even think about it. I just go ahead and do it in that state. But when you're in a state of sin, you can't do that. Because in a state of sin, you know that there's sinful emotions coming up in you, percolating up in you, caused by the particular event. And how you're going to react now is going to depend upon how much you listen to your sin. Right? Now, if I decide to listen to let's say my sin is, I don't like getting put down, so I'm going to put down somebody if they put me down. Let's say that's my sin. So you say something to me and it feels to me like a put down. What am I going to do? I'm going to try to find something in you, put you down. Right? Now imagine if we were a couple, like a married couple, and I raise an issue with you that's valid, but you feel like it's a put down. You're going to be very tempted to find a hole in me that you feel is valid and attack me for that, rather than actually feeling about what I've said to you. Right? So these reactions are all based upon addictions, so therefore unloving. Now, if I was loving, I would first be, and I wanted to love. So let's say I'm still a sinner, but I want to love. The very first thing I'm going to do is, I feel really annoyed with that. I feel that's really annoying, actually. So the very first thing I'd have to do is work out why I'm so annoyed. Before I open my mouth, I need to find out why I'm so annoyed, why do I feel like reacting, and is that feeling I have actually loving? Right? Now, many of you will think, I'm being put down, so it's loving for me to, go on the defense or go on the attack. But that's not true, actually. From God's perspective, it's not loving to attack anybody, even if you're being attacked. So it's not loving to attack them. It's loving to say a truth, but not loving to go on the attack in order to denigrate them. So in the first century, for example, when I was asked, or when I was attacked or put down, I would just state the truth. I didn't have any feelings of feeling bad about myself or feeling like I needed to defend myself or defend my actions or any of those things, but I just enjoyed saying the truth. So whenever somebody talked to me, even if it was a put down, I thought, good opportunity to say some truth. They've engaged me. They've talked to me specifically. So the Pharisees used to do this all the time. They used to find me in a city, a lot of times in Jerusalem when we were there, and they'd come up to me and they'd ask me tricky questions, what they thought would be a tricky question that I wouldn't be able to answer. And they did it in public every single time because they thought they had an opportunity to put me down. Now, I didn't go, you're just trying to put me down, what are you doing? You're just trying to... I never did any of that. I knew what they were doing, and I was confident in that assessment because I had God's assessment of what they were doing. And all I needed to do was just say some truth. So I'd answer their questions in public. Now, of course, given the fact that all the answers were logical, they were pretty annoyed by all of that. In fact, what happened is every time they tried to pull me down in public, I ended up with more followers, more people listening. And that really annoyed them. So after a while, they realised we can't do that anymore. We can't just come up there and put him down all the time and let him talk, because if we let him talk, he's going to say logical things. And if he says some logical things, everyone around him is going to think he's being logical, and then they'll listen more to him. Right? So we can't do that. So they worked out after a while, they stopped doing that. Instead, what they did then is they sent assassins. So I had 4 attempts of my life before my passing, and because of that, right? Because they got sick of trying to talk to me and put me down. They thought initially that they would be able to do that, and everyone would go, yeah, he's an idiot, and, you know, he's just another one of these guys. In my day, in the 1st century, there were lots of people claiming to be the Messiah. Most of them ended up like I ended up, in the sense of hanging on a cross or a stake, and that's how the Jewish Sanhedrin and the Romans treated them generally. Many of them, of course, were violent, and I wasn't. But in the end, we were all pretty much treated the same way, all the people who claimed to be the Messiah, including myself. But the difference for me was I didn't feel like I had to get violent with them. I didn't feel I had to attack them in return. In fact, the feeling I had was they're my brothers and sisters, and, you know, whatever opportunities they give me to talk to them, even if it's done in a poor motive on their part, if it's in a good motive on my part, then things will work out. So it really depends on the motivation, is the answer to your question. And if the motivation is to defend yourself, then already you're sinning.
I think sometimes the motivation is to change, so I don't...
Sorry?
I'll just change that.
Sometimes, yeah, to change, so I don't have to maybe feel.
Of course, that's a big reason for people sending other people truth, is to try to get them to change.
Yeah.
That's not a good reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not a good reason. You know, free will honours the fact that they may not change. When you give them an opportunity to hear truth and they decide they don't want to change, well, that's their decision, right? Then you need to make a decision. Well, what are you going to do about that? So if it's your partner and they don't want to change, well, at some point you might have to leave them if they're going to keep doing things that are unloving towards you. But you wouldn't have a fight and drag down arguments with them, and you wouldn't be denigrating them and pulling them down the whole time before you leave them and after you leave them, and, you know, you wouldn't do all of that. You would just leave, right? That's how a person who loves somebody acts. They don't enter a war. They are peaceful.